And I want to, just along that vein, turn to ArriveCan here, which has become, as people travel, as more people leave the country and for some reason come back into it, has become something that more and more Canadians and foreigners are facing. And it's this app that the government originally thought would be a pandemic management app. It felt like it was an easy way for them to get people to give their vaccination certificate when they come in, and it saves time at the border and saves time with the public health officials and all of that. And now they're making it a permanent fixture in entry. So I'm glad to see it's being challenged, not just by Canadians that are not complying and are taking huge fines as a result, but even in the courts. The Justice Center for Constitutional Freedoms has filed a legal challenge, a charter challenge against ArriveCan. And JCCF lawyer Saya Hassan and Eva Chipiak join me on the program live. Saya, Eva, it's great to talk to you both. I'll ask, I don't know which one of you wants to take it first, but what is this case about? Because it's one thing to not like ArriveCan, it's one thing to find it annoying, but fundamentally, what is it that this challenge is going after?
Thank you, Andrew, for having us on your show. And I guess I'll go first. And I want to talk about what this case is not about, because we have seen so much division in our society, vaccinated versus unvaccinated. This case is not about whether you're vaccinated or you're not vaccinated, because the ArriveCan applies to everyone. And even if you're fully vaccinated, but you choose not to use ArriveCan because of privacy concerns, you're still going to be compelled to quarantine for 14 days. You're still going to be given a fine of $5,000 or more. So it's really important, I think, to point that out, that this is not a case of whether you're vaccinated or not. This impacts all Canadians. And one of the major things, major concerns of a lot of our applicants and Canadians is the privacy aspect. And we have applicants in our case that are fully vaccinated who simply don't want to use ArriveCan because they're concerned about privacy. We don't know what's going to happen to this data. We don't know who has access to it. We don't know who's storing it. Where is it getting stored? This is a major concern for Canadians, and that's the kinds of questions that we're going to be asking the court to answer.
I think the privacy aspect is key. And I'll ask you about this, Eva, because I know that when I have come into the country and I've used ArriveCan, basically it's tied to my passport or my Nexus card. So when I scan that at the point of entry, they already have my ArriveCan. So it's in a database, and it looks like the government has done a fair bit of integration on the back end, which is not the kind of thing you do with just this temporary public health measure.
Yeah, so we've heard a lot of concerns, of course, about the ArriveCan and, the utility of it. I think in your intro, you mentioned that it was meant to speed up the process, and everything we've heard about it is it's delaying travel into Canada, and in a significant way too. So what is it actually achieving is a really good and important question that we're going to be asking the government to answer on our end.
Is this being fought? I mean, I know it's a charter challenge, but what's really the key sections of the charter that you think are impugned by this?
I'll take that. So I think that one of the most important one is Section 8, which deals with privacy. That's a major concern. Another charter section is Section 7 and the 14-day quarantine. One of our arguments is that people are arbitrarily being detained arbitrarily for 14 days. We've had applicants who are fully vaccinated. There's no scientific reason, and we can't see any legal reason why they have to quarantine, and yet they've been asked to quarantine. So it's very arbitrary. And we know about the glitch in the ArriveCan in July, where 10,000 people who were fully vaccinated, who had no issues, were told by the app that they have to quarantine for 14 days. And then it took the government 12 days to contact these people to say, oh, this was a glitch, it was a mistake. So Section 7, Section 8, and another important section, which is dear to my heart because I was a former criminal defense lawyer, is the right to counsel. Because we have law-abiding citizens, some of our applicants included, who are being stopped, they're being detained by police officers, not by border service agents, not by FAC agents, police officers. They're being detained, they're not being allowed to leave, and yet they're not being told that they have a right to speak to counsel at that moment. That's really scary, really intimidating, and it's an issue that's been coming up with the quarantine cases constantly. So that's another very important issue that we're raising.